so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I did have a quick question for you, Michelle. Let's see. So I see, hang on.
I shared my screen.
You took over my screen, which lost my whole place. So let me zip around. Oh, I can't zip around on this one. So I know Zach, so I know his agenda item. And then I was going to ask who else was in the waiting room, because if everybody's okay with it, we can move around to who's here online and go with those agendas first. Is that all we have is Zach?
Bill Gravitt is here as well.
Which he's doing. Hi, Bill. He's working with Zach, right? No, I see where you are. Hang on a second. Okay, you're doing the other one. All right. So has everybody had a moment to, oh, wait a second. Can we move agenda item number 2 to the end of our meeting, or does that need to be done prior?
We can move it to the end if you would like.
Okay. So then if we could go ahead and move to agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes from July 27th, 2020. Did anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Oh my gosh, Michelle. Let's see. There we go.
I'm supposed to share the agenda so that it can be seen. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my gosh, my screen went away again. Was there any questions?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, Bill, your agenda item number 4, and since you're online, we'll go ahead and move in order there. We have consideration of a letter of design approval for 2. Hold on a moment. Michelle took over my screen again, which made me lose my place. Agenda item number 4, where there's 2 single tenant wall signs for Lone Star Auto located at 536 South Mill Street.
All right, Commissioner. So this is an existing automotive use, and I'm going to share my screen again real quick here to show you the images. And they're proposing to replace the signs for the new tenant or automotive tenants going in. So let me change the view here so we can see the whole page here. Oh, no, sorry. So you can see there's 2 signs, one facing Mill Street and one facing Purnell Street. These signs are black and white in their motif, and they say a Lone Star Auto Detail. You can see the size of the sign is 19.7 square feet that will face towards Mill Street, and then 12.6 square feet that will face towards Purnell Street. I don't really have anything else to add here. If the applicant has any words they'd like to say, now would be the time.
The only comment I would have is, as we can see, this is a pretty older building, and it's probably constructed of a wood frame with wood siding that's painted on top. And so we like to be sure that we take the proper hardware, to mount the sign. That may require a direct attachment flat to that wood surface, in which we'll use appropriate lag shields or other type of expansion type fasteners to be sure it stays on the wall properly. We always do like to use a frame instead because it holds it on the wall more firmly. But in this case, I think that that type of mounting attachment is pretty traditional. We'll hold it up there fine. And that's really the only comment I had.
Bill, I had a quick question. So for on that Purnell Street, that view from there, and when you blow it up, it looks, all the little things that are on the wall are blurry. So I really can't tell what they are, if any of it was a light or anything along those, except for the one at the top. But all those little black patches or little things we see, the sign will cover all that up, correct? So it'll just be clean and you'll see the sign right under there.
That's correct. That is a light that's above it, so it will not cover that light. Those other 2 items that are on the wall are, I think, an old telephone connection, which he was planning on removing, and the one on the left, I think, is already gone. So
Okay.
it's as represented. I think in order to make those invisible, there will need to be paint to cover up any evidence
Touch up where he removed them. Okay.
Right.
Does anybody have any further comments, questions, concerns?
Could you go to the perspective that's initially, or the proposed wall sign number 1? Okay, there seems to be some detail on the sign on the wall sign number 1 that is not on wall sign number 2. The auto detail, is that intentional, or is that?
Yes, sir. The reason it's different is because wall sign number 1 is on what I guess we can call building number 1, which is the detail portion of their business.
Okay.
And wall sign number 2 is on the office building, which is where they sell automobiles.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any plan to have any projection lighting on these signs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And if not proposed, that always comes secondary
Yeah.
or has to come before us. Do we have a motion on the table?
I'm good to approve.
Anyone?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so we have Jack first, Randy second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Right.
Okay, so we do have Zach on the line, and he is agenda item number 6. So if it's okay with everybody, just to kind of go down to agenda item number 6. And sorry, wait, I override Michelle on taking over my screen so I can see my wording. Let me get back to it. Is that okay with everybody?
Sure.
Okay, agenda item number 6, we have consideration of a letter of design approval for a mural at the Mill Street House located at 322 North Mill Street, as requested by Zach Moore, who is the property owner.
All right. So commissioners, this is a proposed mural that would go on the north side of the building. So you would see it as you come down Mill Street. They've provided 2 options. One is kind of the black background with the lighter lettering, and one is the lighter background with the dark lettering. And so the purpose is to kind of act as a gateway or entry point into Old Town. The text on it reads, "Welcome to Old Town, Louisville," with Old Town in kind of a big bold font and Louisville in a cursive script. So this is a mural, and those do require approval by the Old Town Design Review Committee. And it's an approximate 10 foot by 10 foot area using black colored oil-based exterior paint. So let me share my screen and just pull those images up, and then we'll let Zach, if you have anything to add, please do.
Zach, I have a quick question for you. Do you have a preference in one or the other? Like, do you prefer one over the other?
I like the white background better if it can stand out enough. I think the black might be too dark, too bold. So
Okay.
it's the one I'm leaning towards, but I'm not biased to either one if you guys have input.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
It's meant to be subtle, there, but not. I'm not trying to cause rubbernecking or anything as they're driving down the road. We have a short 4-foot fence in the other side of the driveway here, so it's going to be there. I think it does help me achieve a commercial look. It's still a residential house looking, so this can help with that. But me just having passion for the area in Old Town, I like to see just kind of those entry points, if you will. Not that this is one, but I think it will cause people to see it and might start to slow down a little bit and realize that they're in an area that's different from where they just came from down the street. So it's really just an idea to cover a bare wall that needs some help. And I could landscape it, or I can do something fun like this. So
I like it. I like the mural, and I've gone back and forth between the black and the white. I'm not opposed to leaving that in your court and whatever you feel is best on your property. I like them both. And I honestly have gone back and forth which one I like better. One does stand out and it's like, oh, maybe you see that quicker. But then the white one, real clean lines, kind of goes with, the look and feel of your property. But
Right.
both of them are nice.
And we designed this a couple months ago. It's kind of sitting on it during COVID, but the new logo, the new OTL logo, I was thinking about incorporating it somehow. I don't know. Amanda, you and I can talk about that, but.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask. It is a positively striking design that you have, and I like it a lot. The only thing that with something that's striking is it at least complementary to the collection of, I assume Old Town has a variety of either logos that are in current use or were in use in the past. Does this complement that? And this is a question to staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I might ask Heather to jump in on this because it talks about the branding, and I know she was on that team. Were you on that as well, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'd love for you guys to weigh in as part of that process. I know we do have kind of the round logo, so there's a shape element that kind of, I think, carries over pretty well. It's also clean and clear. Our logo is red and black are the kind of the colors that I've seen being used, so it kind of picks up on the colors too. At the same time, that's the city's branding, and this is a private property, so we wouldn't want it to, just carry over exactly what we've done. But I don't know if Amanda and Heather have other thoughts on that.
Heather, you want first?
Yeah, I think it's in line with brand, the immediate thing that stood out was the white. I think it looks really good. And it caught my eye over the black, but as far as how does it translate to the branding package they just put out, I think it just exactly what you said. It's not identical to the city, so it doesn't make it a city building or perception of being one, but it's in the same design, I would say. For sure, it complements the brand.
Okay.
We tried to use the same font, that Old Town there.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, it was, like I said, it was kind of developed before that logo, but that's the idea, to help it, make it look like it is a part of the area, but also unique to our location, our property.
Yeah, I like it. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
You mentioned it with the last guy about lighting. I didn't include that. And if it's a problem, I guess I can add it, but I do intend to have a light on the peak there.
Do you know what type of lighting?
It wouldn't be commercial grade. It would be just something that would just, actually I already have light there, to be honest with you. It just lights up that side just for security. So it wouldn't be any different than it is now, but I was just intending on making it focused on that specific area there now.
I didn't know if it'd be like a gooseneck-like type lighting, or if it's security. Does security lighting have to come through us? For some reason, I felt like security or safety lighting didn't.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
So security lighting is just required for safety, obviously. But any kind of ornamental lighting or additional lighting to illuminate the sign or whatnot does have to come before the board.
Okay, so if you were to want to put up, let's just for example's sake, some gooseneck lighting that came up over
right.
the sign, then yes. But if you were going to put up the square security light type things that go up, no need to.
Okay.
No need to go with this. Do you have a preference of what you would like?
I'm probably just going to stick with what I have now, which is just that very small. I wouldn't. It's just a little security light. That's
Okay.
the camera that I have.
Is it up on the wall or is it on the ground?
Right now it's on the wall, pretty much below that vented top corner there. So I was just going to try to adjust it up a little bit.
Okay.
Put it under the eave there in the soffit. And this is pretty much to scale, but we're going to try to cheat it up as much as we can. Right in the center, of course, but just because of that fence line that we have, try to get it off the ground a few feet.
I think it looks great. I like it. It's fun to see people doing fun little things like this around town.
Yeah, the more the better.
Exactly.
Kind of got the theme going now, so let's paint it.
Do we have a motion to approve or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have Heather with her motion, Jack with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, go Stars.
There you go.
Okay, let me jump back up to the top here. Okay, so we'll jump back to agenda item number 5. Is that right? Yes, consideration of a letter of design approval for the internal sign illumination of 2 existing signs at 400 West Main Street.
Yes, commissioners. And so this is the building that was recently kind of renovated and occupied by Prototype IT. If you remember, they came before the board. I know, Heather, you weren't on the board then, but to do the painting of the exterior and some upgrades to the exterior of the building. And then also to get these 2 wall signs that they installed approved. These 2 wall signs were on their previous location in Flower Mound. And so one of the things we talked about when they came forward a little bit with that request, but also at a prior meeting, was just the direction of City Council in Old Town. And basically we want to stick to the principles very stringently of the design, especially in the Old Town core, but show some flexibility as we get away from the core to allow for creative things that still meet the spirit and intent, even if they don't necessarily meet the letter of the law, and that allow for new and creative uses in Old Town to kind of bring people in. So this particular property is right on the edge of the Old Town boundary. The hospital was previously in the boundary, but we took it out maybe 2 years ago now when we did the I-35 overlay, just because that seemed to fit the hospital's development a little bit better. So this is the edge boundary of Old Town. And what the applicant is proposing to do right now is to add the illumination to their signs. So they wouldn't really need to do anything since the signs were originally designed to be internally illuminated, but really just plug them in and turn them on at night. So let me share my screen here and I'll get those images up for you. This is a photo of the existing sign during the day. And then we've got some photos of the sign. This is the sign at night. And I can't remember if he just plugged these in at his current location. I think he did, just to kind of show what it would look like. If he didn't, then these are from the Flower Mound location when they had it plugged in there.
You have anything else, Michelle?
I do not. I have not heard from the applicant, so I'm not sure. They're not here right now, but I'll try to answer any questions that you guys do have.
I've got a couple. I'm okay with the form of the sign. The brightness kind of worries me a little bit, and I don't know if there's any upward ceiling of that, the performance of, I don't know what you'd call it, the brightness of the sign. I don't know if is there such a thing as too bright for us?
I don't think we have any restrictions on illumination, do we?
Because one of the first conversations I had on the group with another member was the way the LED rope lights kind of hit our sensibilities, with the outlining of windows in certain areas, and it was kind of like, that's kind of harsh. I could see where if they've got turbo powered brightness, that maybe take some consideration.
Yeah, so currently we don't have any regulations on the brightness of signs. We don't have any standards in our codes that really address that. And we haven't proposed really any changes to our side ordinance in a long time. I would let you know that what you see in the pictures is likely what you'll see in terms of brightness of this particular sign.
Because again, obviously the logo is very striking, and I think aesthetically, I'm certainly okay with it. It's just the difference between being able to read the sign and having the sign overpower the property with brightness.
If it's
when I went down the street, and I don't know if he took that, if it was plugged in and he took that picture. I've seen it lit up once. So it could have been the same night that he turned it on to take pictures or something.
Were airplanes flying into it, or?
There was no, to be honest with you, it was kind of it was in my peripheral and secondary of thought being like, for some reason I thought they weren't going to light that up. But then I did, so it was just that I caught that it was lit and I didn't think they were going to light it. Now I see, either why he did light it or they were coming back to us and they were checking it out. So no, it wasn't, it didn't bother me or stand out more than anybody else's, like the hospital or, anything else that was around there.
Staff, Michelle, could you go back to the photo?
Yes, I can. Give me just a second here.
I don't know if it seems so much brighter. Like the lights weren't on the interior when I drove by because it was dark on the interior. So I don't know if that makes it, and that bottom image seems so much brighter and reflective, because that's not what I recall per se when I drove by, like being able to see inside of all of their. I don't remember it being obnoxious. I'll put it to you that way.
Okay. Was there any discussion of this being backlit?
So the way that there was, the way that the sign is designed, that's really not quite feasible because it was developed to be an internally illuminated sign. So without kind of changing it entirely, no, they couldn't just switch it over to being backlit. It is right next to the hospital.
Only way to light it is how it's currently existing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, without having to refabricate the sign.
To me, because it's in that transition, it's right on. If it were any closer to Old Town, that core district, I would maybe be a little bit more resistant to it. But since it does fall so closely to that overlay district and close to the hospital and kind of in line with the things that are similarly around there, and it really is that transitional space, I'm not totally opposed to it.
It certainly goes with the architecture of the building.
Yeah, and that's, quite honestly, from where this building came from, not even 12 months ago to what it is now, it is quite the improvement. The only thing I would ask is that they do have, they have their little planter out front that they're going to, they have their logo. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michelle? You can't see it in here. Probably where he's standing, taking a picture on the angle on that corner. They have made their little logo in that section. It's even further back. It's a little bit closer to the street, and they've made it really nice. It looks like it's going to be a planter. It has their logo in it because I can tell they don't have landscaping in. I assume they're going to put landscaping in there. There is rope light that they've outlined it in, which looks really kind of janky. So I don't know if they're open to not having that there and having their sign up, or putting up some type of lighting that maybe shines on it. The rope lighting, you could tell it was rope lighting. It didn't have that super crisp professional lighting look that was part of the planter, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. I'll make a note of that.
But that would be my only suggestion, is that they maybe consider a little something else, because they have put so much into this building and it looks so good that when I saw that, it looks like something that, it just would look better. Not there, maybe.
Thank you. I haven't been in Old Town in darkness hours for quite some time, so with COVID, so thank you for that.
But anyway, that was my 2 cents. I don't necessarily have an issue with it because of its location.
Could we fold your comment perhaps with one about saying, staff approves with the recommendation that they keep the brightness to a level that is legible but not overwhelming. I I would assume that if they did put lighting on that's a monument sign, right? That they had the rope light on?
Oh, no, I don't think I think it's just landscaping. I don't think it's, well, I don't know. Would that actually be considered signage? I didn't take it as signage. The thing on the street was totally separate. And to be honest, outside of my knowledge of, I don't know how you would control how bright the light. I don't know if you can do that. Maybe you can. I have no idea.
I mean, there's wattage on. I mean, you can use a 60 watt or a 100 watt or whatever. I'm assuming you can.
We usually measure silk candles for that kind of thing.
Right.
Typically, what we do, or lumens. So when I've seen sign regulations of brightness, it's about how much brighter is it than the ambient light conditions. So if you turn the sign off, where are you at, and then how much brighter is the sign than what the area is with the sign off. But in terms of something kind of generic to go with this, I'd say that the sign should be illuminated but avoid causing any glare or brightness kind of thing. I think that's what you're trying to get at.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue about the area beyond the planter is, I'm kind of confused. Is that something that should have fallen to this committee or not?
Yeah, so I'm gonna look into that a little bit. I'll see if I can.
Oh, are you talking about the lights? Sorry, I totally missed what you were talking about, Jack. I'm sorry.
No.
On that planter, no, people do that around here all the time, throw lighting out on something. They just don't realize they can't do it. So once they're told they can't do it, it's not a big deal. We see it all the time down here. And then until somebody narcs about it, which I just did in this meeting, nobody's the wiser. I wasn't trying to throw them under the bus. My whole thing is that as great and professional as that looks, the lighting that they put out wasn't anything. So I'm sure it's one of those things that once you tell them, it'll go away. Just like a lot of people throw lighting on stuff out here. And then once they're told it's no big deal, they take it down.
Okay.
And then if they want it, I guess he would come back to us. If he really likes it or wants it, then he would come back to us, right, Michelle?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion with that staff comment or without it if that's too much of a hassle. It's certainly aesthetically goes with the building. I agree that it's taking that transition area to the next level. I don't think it certainly does not. It fits into that area is the technical phrase I would use for it. So, is there any discussion on that potential motion?
Just so I'm clear, the staff comment would be regarding the glare.
Yes.
As opposed to the rope lights. Okay.
Correct. Okay, I'm going to say so moved.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have Jack and then Randy, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did you say aye, Heather? I might have talked right over you.
Yes, aye.
Yeah. Then motion carries.
Okay. So
Heather, there's a lot of fighting on this group, so just
Yeah.
it's a tough group.
We do not know how to contain our adultness and reasonability or anything.
Hold on just a second. We have one more person in the waiting room.
Oh. We still have one more agenda item that we skipped over.
We do, and I'm about to share my screen and so that you can all see that agenda item.
Is this, who's joining us? Is this from a previous agenda item we've already talked about, Michelle?
I'm not really sure. I see Victoria's iPhone. Are you guys here for the 400 West Main, the prototype IT. No, they might have just been in the wrong Zoom meeting.
No, I'm I'm sorry. We were there was a sign for 536 South Mill Street. And I'm sorry if I'm joining the meeting wrong, a little late.
Okay. Yes. So that was the Lone Star Auto.
Yes, ma'am.
Request was already considered and approved.
Oh, perfect. I didn't want to interrupt y'all's meeting. I'm so sorry. I just logged on and I had it on mute. I was just going to sit here quietly. But thank you so much. Oh, no problem. No problem. I'll just sit here quietly. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so back to agenda item number 2, which we skipped earlier.
So selection of chair and vice chair. Who would like to throw their name in the hat? Anyone? Anyone? How about our new person, Heather?
I think I need a little time.
Jack, you've done it before. Do you have any interest in chair or vice chair?
I'd be happy to. I was I think I'm. What was I officially vice chair and I didn't know it?
No, I would just, when I had to step out of the meeting, I would just toss you the baton.
You did a great job.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even give you an opportunity to decline. I'm like, Jack, you're on.
Well, you had me fooled. That's all there is to it. I didn't know I had a choice. No, I'd be happy to work with staff on that, and I really need to congratulate you on your performance because it's. I understand on other committees that I've had the opportunity to serve as a chair. I've one of my favorite days is giving that chair away. So I could completely understand it, and if the opportunity is there, I'll go ahead and do it.
Well, which one would you like we've got 2 up on the block. Which one strikes your fancy?
Oh, I could. Okay. Wow, you are giving me a choice.
No, everybody else is real quiet, but I knew I could get you on the line.
What the heck? I'll go with chair.
You go with whatever you're most comfortable with.
I'll
There's
go with
absolutely no pressure. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Is there any interest in a vice chair for anyone? If not, everybody's like crickets. It's like, where did everybody go? If not, I'm happy to still play a part. These are probably my last 2 years on this board before I roll out because I've moved on. But I'm happy to do that job. But if somebody else is interested, it's super easy. Anyone?
You're doing good.
Okay, so
I do have a question of staff real quick. For the foreseeable future, are we considering this is the virtual format we're going to be using until further notice?
Yes.
Is this the new normal?
Yes. As long as the governor's emergency orders are extended and stay in effect, we're going to continue to hold virtual meetings just to be as safe as we can. But it really just depends on how long Governor Abbott continues to extend his emergency orders, which allow us to do these meetings virtually.
So if the governor rescinds his emergency orders, I'm assuming there's no gun to our head that says we have to go back face to face, or is there?
There is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is.
Emergency orders, then we have to have in-person meetings again.
And let's hope sooner rather than later we get to that point. I think he's about to start loosening things a little bit, it seems like, from the restaurant industry, what I've been hearing rumbles down through. So let's hope that sooner rather than later we start finding those safe new normals.
Well, the only wrinkle that throws my service as chair would be that we start to have another issue of commutes from downtown Dallas at 4 o'clock in the afternoon again. But I guess we can climb that mountain when we get to it and be able to cover the needs that are associated with it. Sometimes it's just really hard for me to get out from downtown Dallas in a time frame where I can reliably get to Old Town at 4. But for right now, it's great.
How can we, let's see.
I'm sure we'll be back in person within the year, I would think.
So I was just curious, like well, no, I guess there's really not. I didn't know if there was a precedent for under these circumstances, we go with option A, and then when that changes, you go to option B. I didn't know if they'd changed anything like that.
No, we could always, if the board wanted to, we could add it to the agenda at another point in the year. We typically just do it once a year right after the appointments are made. But, 6 months from now, if there's a change in makeup in the board, or if the board desires and the chair requests it, we can always put it back on the agenda to reconsider our chair and vice chair and change them.
Well, I will do my darndest to work with staff to make sure I am able to account for this. In the meantime, on those hopefully very rare times, I'm assuming that your continued service as vice chair would be really helpful for those times.
Takes a village.
There you go.
Okay, so then we do have a motion on the table for electing Jack to be chair. And it seems like I elected myself due to silence on the other end from our other two commissioners.
Who made the motion?
So that's what we have on the table. So I will kick that to Randy and Heather.
We freeze up. All right. Well, then I'll move that Jack is. Are we doing it like by nomination, or we just how is the motion should be read?
I nominate Jack.
Jack Tidwell for the chair. Okay, all right, and Amanda Ferguson for vice chair.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Oh, we'll adjourn. I guess I should officially adjourn.
Just for the clarity in the record, please. Yeah.
Yes, so we have concluded our meeting. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Before we do so, do we have an anticipated next date for a meeting?
So for the calendar, our next meeting date would be on the 28th if we have any cases. Right now, I don't think we have anything, but we turn these around really quickly, so that could change.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we did have something coming up. I talked to Richard today, and it seemed like we had some stuff maybe coming up.
It hasn't been submitted officially yet, so.
Okay. Okay.
So we heard was there a motion to adjourn?
We'll need a formal one.
So moved.
Second. Heather, that was great. Thank you. So we have Jack with the first and Heather with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Awesome. Thank you so much.